Well, hello everybody. It is the end of quarter three, 2024, and I'm going to do my best to make a rather concise video updating you on what has gone on in the workshop, what my goals and intentions are for quarter four. If you are new to this channel, I'm the Summer Seamstress and I curate a lifestyle of handmade, self-made garments and goods whenever possible. Along the way, I'll share with you how I got started and why it's so important to me as a means to connect to the women in my family who are no longer around, but they were great makers in their own right. Also as a mission that all of us have a responsibility to do our part to address fast fashion and enjoy an incredible hobby along the way. If you like anything you hear, please hit that like button and please subscribe to stay informed of future videos. Let me talk to you about some of my very first makes. I thought I'd just introduce this. So I actually thought I lost this, but it was found this summer, like stuffed inside a bag. You know when you stuff bags inside of bags, shopping bags? This one was hidden, stuffed in a bunch of bags. So I always say to anybody who's starting out, your first best bet is to sew anything that's a series of straight lines, as in pillowcases, tote bags, etc. I love it so much. It was remnant fabric from Joann, so all of it's remnant, but I really like how it matches. It's lined. It's just a lined tote bag. There's no interfacing. Got this cute little pocket and this cute little bag, which does have interfacing with a little, and a great way to practice making a zipper. Make a little pocket, I love it. I am so happy it didn't get thrown out in one of my purges, because I did have the habit, I still do, but I really did when I lived in New York City in an apartment, to purge my home from time to time and just throw stuff out or send it to Goodwill or the thrift shop or whatever, because we needed the space. We were a family of four in a little apartment. And anyway, so what I love about, one of the things I love is this can go in the washing machine. So, and you can obviously fold it up into a tiny little ball and conceal it somewhere, but it's just cute. And literally this fabric makes me happy. So there it is. This, one of my other very early makes, you're not going to believe it, is this jacket. So this is from the Threads Learn to Sew series. And no shade to Threads, because I love Threads, but I don't know how this is a Learn to Sew. Volume 1, this was the second project. The first project was a bias strip scarf, which I totally messed up. It involved so many steps. It was not a, anyway, whatever. I'll try it again one day, but it looked cool, like in the video demonstration, but I couldn't get it to work. Maybe someday I'll go back. But then there was this jacket along with a sheath dress with a zipper. That's crazy to take that on as your second project. Maybe I missed an introduction where it said go sew some rectangles and squares first and then come to this video, because that would have made more sense. Anyway, I chucked the dress, which is a shame. I followed the instructions, but because I didn't know anything about fitting yet, the dress was actually too boxy. It was too big in certain areas. It felt completely unwearable. It was constructed okay, I thought, but I threw it out because it was just way too big for me, I felt at the time. But this is the blazer that's the same size. I'm honestly pretty happy with how it's made. It's some bizarre remnant fabric, again, remnant fabric from Joann's. And I think it's just, as I've gained weight, this blazer is kind of just a thing. And here's the story, is I have gained a fair amount of weight since that dress was made. And chances are, if I had just packed it away somewhere and put it on now, it might have fit like a glove, or minimally, I would know how to fit it. So the moral of the story is, if you can, don't throw stuff out. Pack it up and put it away for later. Make a note to yourself. You'll find it again later and you'll come back with new information that you have. Here's what I wanted to do for July, August, September, quarter 3, 2024. As my YouTube channel title suggests, I call myself Summer Seamstress because I am a school teacher during the year, and the summer months are really when I try to get projects done. I make little projects for myself that will carry me through the year. Quarter 3 was to get a more accurate body image. Since I sew, I take my measurements every, let's just say 6 months, definitely within a year. I have evidence of my changing figure and expanding waistline, And even though I sew, and the reason I started sewing was because I still found it difficult to get things off the rack that didn't need to be tailored because of my height. I put off doing anything because I said, oh, I'll just try to lose some weight. I'll try to exercise more. I will try to change my figure, and supposed to sewing for the figure I have. And that's really what is great about sewing. You sew for the shape you have. By the end of this year, I'm going to be 54. I just decided, I have to embrace the measurements I have. So I took some honest, reliable measurements, and I did it a couple of times to make sure I had that data. I purchased a set of dressmaker rulers, and I attended a draping class also where I got some great ideas. I had a Dritz dress form, which is an expandable one. I have a whole video on that. So I watched the videos on how to pad your dress form, and then after I did that, I made the bootstrap fashion dress form cover to make it look pretty on the outside. So now I have a pinnable dress form that is almost precisely my measurements. So now if I want to drape, having taken the draping class, I have something that is my exact measurements. I already used the dress form to tailor two things I already made, but I wanted to make them more flattering, and it worked perfectly. So I'm very excited about that. And it was really easy then to see how something would fit on me and where I needed to just pinch in a little bit. So great. So I wanted to make some blocks and slopers to, again, have total accurate body measurements so that my garment making and my pattern adjustment would be simplified, because there's nothing more frustrating than making a pattern and then having it, in my case, often too big up here. I'm narrow shouldered, or otherwise just not flattering, when really a fitting or an adjustment is all it needed. Anyway, the sloper and the pattern fitting can be tabled later on. I did reorganize my workshop, in part thanks to some podcasts I heard from Seamwork over the summer. I decided to sell my Sullivan cutting table. The great thing about it was it had adjustable legs, and so it was up high. It was very comfortable to cut and pattern draft. The downside was it was really rickety, and I was getting just tired of the fact that it moved with me all the time when I was cutting or writing on it. And I also felt like I'm starting to get a little too cluttered in the studio. I still feel that way. But I did sell the table, and I used my IKEA Norden table, which was where I did all my Cricut and crafting and anything else. I moved that over to where the cutting table is. That's what this computer's on right now. I'm not in love with some of it because now the Cricut tools and my cutting sewing tools are all in the same spot, and the table is low. So I either have to sit while I'm cutting or I have to raise the legs. Eventually I want to raise the legs. That'll probably be next summer because I don't see it happening anytime soon. Another thing I did was I helped a friend get started with her sewing machine, and that was really, really fun. So this is a good friend anyway, and she had gotten a really decent sewing machine off Facebook Marketplace, and I just helped her not be afraid of it, and together we walked through how to get her started. And I'm so excited because she left ready to make stuff for herself, and I know she's going to do fabulous. One more thing I added for my sewing workshop that I've been meaning to do is I got these bars. I don't even remember what you actually call them. Restaurants have these for their little tickets and stuff. And I went to a restaurant supply store and I got 2 of them, and my husband put them up. They are perfect to stick your little pattern envelope, and when I'm sewing the project, I put the instructions on there so they're out of the way and they're nearby, and it's really great. So I highly recommend this. I'll try to remember what these are and link them. The other thing I wanted to do was I wanted to finish the scarf I've been knitting all summer, and that happened but didn't happen. Look at this amazing watermelon scarf. It's upside down. But this is actually more complex than anything I've ever done knitting wise. So I'm pretty dang proud of myself, truthfully. I was hoping to get it done July 4th. No way. Then I was hoping it would get done by the end of summer, and I got it done like the end of August, and then I had to do the bind off. I got to the last instructions and it was talking about the bind off, and anybody who knits, usually your bind off is 1, 2, 3. So I thought, but for me, a picot bind off is slow as, I don't know why so slow. I also totally lost momentum once we hit September. So now I'll get it done when I get it done. But I better hurry up because I like to finish something before I start something else, and I've got to get my fall knitting underway. Q4 goal. I sewed a couple things. I sewed a shift dress, and I also made another dress for a garden party, an engagement party where I was playing the harp. And I was originally supposed to make an entirely different dress, but because it was the start of the school year, I was starting to get really pinched for time. And I shifted gears entirely and found some fabric I had in my stash. And the dress I wound up making was perfect for the event. Every lady in the garden had a floral dress on, so that worked out really, really well. I had the intention of making a lunch bag, a quilted lunch bag. So I found a pattern I have this fabric, and this is different fabric, so it's 2 types of fabric. I had to quilt the fabric myself, and I ran into here's a little sampler of it. I ran into all sorts of problems with that. This surprised me at how challenged I felt doing it. This is Insel Bright instead of just batting, because I originally wanted it to be a lunchbox. It's way too small for a lunchbox. But for a first try at a bag, I'm still, I'm happy enough with it. This took a lot longer and it was more challenging than I thought. But now I know for the next time. Minimally, this is going to be great for travel or something, putting toiletries in and whatnot. Oh, and I made an embroidered in the hoop gift card holder that I can't find lying around while I'm talking to you. And that was from a class at Above and Beyond Creative Sewing. I've never done in the hoop before, and the thing I need to do for Q4 and forevermore is not be afraid of my embroidery unit, because I am terrified of using my embroidery unit when I'm not in a class, and that's not good. Especially because I'm going to talk about that in a second as well. One more thing I did over the summer that I wanted to do, I traveled to New York City. I used to live in New York City, but now we live about 20 miles out. I wanted to go into the city to see 2 fashion exhibits. I went to the Sleeping Beauties exhibit at the Met Museum of Art, really great, and the Statement Sleeves exhibit at FIT. Also really great. In fact, that was actually really cool. I didn't think sleeves could be that interesting, and I am someone who, I have tattoos on my arms, but because I teach in elementary school, I kind of feel like I always have to keep myself covered up. So it was cool to think of neat ways I could accentuate a garment just by sleeves. And I watched a lot of footage on YouTube regarding fast fashion. I'm not going to get into that too much here, but it is one of the reasons I started sewing too, is I consider that in my lifetime, the industry of fashion and sewing and where garments are made, how they're made, are they made under fair working conditions? All this has really changed. In my childhood, I remember parts of upstate New York being like special campgrounds and stuff for the Women Garment Workers Union or something like that. Does anybody remember that? I remember that. I remember going to one of those campgrounds when I was a child, and I'm nearly positive they're not there anymore. I don't think enough people truly understand the conditions under which many of our clothes arrive to us and why they're so inexpensive. And it's just something to think about. And it's one of the reasons I like to sew. And I probably will keep a little curated section of my channel eventually about that topic. In summary, I got most of the stuff done that I wanted to. I didn't get everything done, but at least I have a working dress form shape with which to sew. I'm going to spend Q4 really trying to take the time to learn all of the features of the machines that are in my workshop. And to that end, I want to talk about a sewing store near me is going out of business. The original owners, who were incredible people and ran this shop for 35 years or so, retired, which they're entirely entitled to do. And the person who took over the shop, within 4 months, I believe, the shop is no more. I feel terrible for the staff who work there because they're wonderful people. I learned so much from them. Nearly every machine I have is from them and was serviced there. The classes I took were all there, and I will miss them deeply. And I really hope everybody finds something great that they move on to. I decided to take advantage of the fact that there was some sales, and so I grabbed some thread and some stabilizer and things that were like half off or whatever, feet for my machines that I would have otherwise you know, waited to buy because those can get really expensive, baby lock feet, but at 50% off. Don't know when that's going to happen. I just have to say it. They had a floor model of the Solaris Vision that I wound up getting. So there she is. I'm not going to say how much I spent on it, but I will just say it came out of my savings account. Kind of depleted my savings account. What is our savings account for, if not to treat ourselves once in a while? I don't need another machine for the rest of my life. Happy sewing, friends. Quarter 4 awaits us. Take care. Like and subscribe.